What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 43 of Week in Review. My name is Sean. On this week's show, we're going to talk about Xbox's XO18 event that they held over the weekend in Mexico City. We're going to look at one limited edition item, and we'll talk about this week's new releases. No real games or movies on this week's show. I didn't see anything, and I played a little bit of Fallout 4, which is a fine game, I guess. I don't know. I've played it before. I mentioned it when I talked about Fallout 76 last week. I played it for about 10 hours. I actually went back to a pretty good starting point, which is when you leave the vault, which is where pretty much everyone starts any Fallout game after they play that 45-minute intro or whatever. Fallout 3 was one of those games where it's like, make a save point before you leave the vault because you can still mess with your stats, all that sort of stuff. The game's fine. I like the idea of it. I like the style of it. I like that the character talks. You get to customize them, so on and so forth. But I think it's weirdly paced. It gives you power armor, makes you overpowered too early in the game. Everything else makes you feel really underpowered outside of the armor. You have to walk a long distance. You only have you have minimal guns and ammo and that sort of stuff. And I also forgot how much I really don't like the leveling system, and I don't really like the crafting system or the the base building aspects of it as well. I don't know. It's just I played it because I thought okay, maybe with fresh set of eyes I'll have a different thought process. I know what to expect. That stuff, still kind of sucks. So, I don't know. It was a game that I kind of played because obviously with Red Dead Redemption and Spider-Man and all the amazing games that have come out recently, no better time to start playing a 3-year-old RPG that I didn't really even like in the first place. As for more current gaming news, Microsoft held their FanFest XO18 down in Mexico City, and I watched the whole conference, so I figured I'd pick some things that I thought were interesting, and then give you kind of an overall opinion of how I thought the showcase went. The first major announcement they made was the Crackdown 3 release date. It hits Xbox One and Xbox Game Pass because it's a Microsoft Studios game. It hits on February 15th. They also debuted a new multiplayer mode that didn't look super great because everything looked like it auto-aimed, but maybe that was just for demonstration purposes. It's cool that the destructible environments carry over into the multiplayer, and it could be an interesting addition to a game that I'm actually pretty excited to try out. State of Decay 2, which is a game that I really enjoy, is getting new content this November in the form of the Zed Hunter update. It contains 3 new weapons and some new gear, and then they announced that there's going to be new content, or more additional content in the spring of 2019, and they're also going to be letting you go back to the original area from State of Decay 1. So that's pretty cool. Gives me incentive to jump back into that game. In other DLC news, Microsoft talked about the first expansion for Forza Horizon 4, Fortune Island, which is their biggest expansion yet, and it has their most dangerous terrain yet, and it also has lightning storms, which is pretty interesting as well. The biggest announcement from this show was Microsoft officially announcing their acquisition of Obsidian Entertainment, which is really, really awesome. They did South Park: The Stick of Truth, they did Fallout New Vegas, I think they did Alpha Protocol, and there was one other game that they showed, I can't remember what it was, but that's a really big get for them. It seems like they have a game that's pretty far in development that may be switching to an Xbox exclusive. They typically do RPGs, which is interesting. The other studio they picked up, In Exile, also does RPGs as well. They did the Wasteland series. So a couple of new studio acquisitions puts Microsoft at 13 internal studios, which is very, very exciting. I'm really excited to see what Obsidian has up its sleeve for their next game. I liked New Vegas. I think South Park: The Stick of Truth is actually a very good game, even if it goes on a little bit long. It gets kind of unnecessarily gross towards the end. I still really enjoyed my time with it, so curious to see what they do next. In addition to all of that, Microsoft announced that they are adding 16 new games to the Xbox Game Pass, starting with the game that they announced that day that was hey, here's this game, and it's out now in Thief of Thieves, which is based on a Robert Kirkman comic and looks really interesting from a visual perspective. It's downloaded on my console right now, and I'm looking forward to trying that out. They also announced that Agents of Mayhem MXGP3 and Thomas Was Alone are going to hit the service on November 22nd. In addition, PUBG and Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice are going to hit the service in December, and that's only 6 of the 16 games. The other 10 games were a little more far-flung in the future. I did some digging on their Xbox Wire website, and it seems like some of the games are going to be coming out in the holiday season, which I would guess would be from Thanksgiving to Christmas. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what games those are. Some of them looked pretty interesting. The one that stuck out to me was Supermarket Shriek, which just looked crazy from the trailer, but also I like supermarket sweep, so I'm hoping it's kind of like that. It's not going to be, that's just a joke, but it looked interesting. I don't know what the hell it is, but look cool. Microsoft also announced that the Summer of Arcade promotion is back in the form of the Winter Arcade. Summer of Arcade is a very popular promotion from the Xbox 360 era that ran from about 2008 to 2013 or so, and it spawned some of their biggest hits. It had Shadow Complex, it had Explosion Man, it had Trials, it had Braid, Limbo. A lot of big digital titles came out of the Summer of Arcade promotion, and it's nice to see them bring it back. It's a promotion that they probably could use more frequently. They could probably do it twice a year, and people would still be excited about it. I would be. They release a lot of digital content, a lot of those smaller games, and it would be cool to see them give you, here's 5 in the summer that we're really excited about. Here are 5 in the winter that we're really excited about, and I'm glad to see this back. The only problem I had with it is that they didn't talk about any of the games. They said, like, oh, we have 5 games that we're going to talk about, but tune in on December 6th for the Game Awards, and we're going to tell you those 5 games. Why are you waiting so long? And that was something that they did a couple of different times where, like, hey, just check out the Game Awards. We'll have more for you. It's like, everybody's watching you. People are paying attention right now. Why not just give the information now? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know how it works. They could have scheduled this way later than they signed contracts with the Game Awards stuff. I don't know any of that sort of stuff. But especially with the Winter of Arcade stuff, why aren't you giving, like, hey, here's 1 game that we're really excited for. Here are 2 games, and there are going to be 3 more that we're going to talk about at the Game Awards. Like, throw something out there. And that's where I think the show faltered a little bit. It seemed like Microsoft was making a big deal out of this. They gave it a different name, even though it's technically just another episode of Inside Xbox, which is still a good show on its own, but you're not expecting any really big announcements. It's more the niche stuff. It's the DLC for games that aren't really going to make the mainstream stuff. They talked about new DLC for Sea of Thieves, which I didn't make the list because it's honing in on what I don't really like about the game, which is the PvP sort of stuff, and that's not what I like about Sea of Thieves. What I like about Sea of Thieves is just exploring and fighting, like CPU sort of things. I don't really want to fight player on player, but that's beside the point. I feel like they missed an opportunity, but I feel like maybe my expectations weren't set quite right. I mean, we got some good stuff out of it, and it's cool that there's new Xbox Game Pass stuff. It's cool that we got a release date for Crackdown 3. We got all sorts of Xbox Game Pass announcements, but it just feels like they stopped themselves short a couple of different times. And why not, really take full advantage of the fact that everyone's watching right now and just have the weekend to yourselves for people to be like, man, here's all this cool stuff that's happening for Xbox. With all that being said, there is a lot of cool stuff happening for Xbox and stuff that I'm very, very excited about. Crackdown 3 looks awesome. I'm excited about a lot of the Game Pass announcements. I'm excited for the DLC for State of Decay 2 and Forza Horizon 4, 2 games that I really like, even though I kind of dropped off pretty early. I wish the Sea of Thieves content was different, though it does seem like people have been requesting more single-player focused stuff or cooperative stuff that isn't competitive, I guess would be the word. I still thought it was a good showcase, even though some of the information didn't really stick with me. There's something here for everybody, and I think that's the best that you can ask for in a conference like that. I found 5 things that I was excited about. There's a bunch of stuff that I didn't really care about, but I walked away going like, man, I'm hyped for next year for games. That's got to count for something. Last week's limited edition items were hot cocoa M&Ms, and that kind of kicked off like a wintry, cozy, fun feeling limited edition streak, I guess. And that will continue this week with sugar cookie Pop-Tarts. There they are. They have fun snowflake print on them. I love sugar cookies, and they remind me very much of holiday season. My mom makes the best sugar cookies, and I love them very much. Whenever we take them to, or whenever she takes them to, like, family gatherings, people always get jealous. They're like, oh, you guys get to eat them all the time. Not really. I don't get to eat them that much. Just because I have a stash of roughly 75 of them in a bag doesn't mean I get to eat them all the time. So will these be better than my mom's sugar cookies? Almost certainly not. Will they be maybe second place? I don't know. Will they be the best limited edition Pop-Tart I've tasted yet? Am I talking loud enough over the crinkling of these packages and that big thud? That's for me to find out later when I'm editing this. But as for now, we have, they're just the regular packages because they come in the 12 toaster pastry bag, whatever the hell, I don't know. Now, I'm trying to think. What did I have? I had something. Oh, it was the strawberry milkshake Pop-Tarts that I had earlier this year. Is that annoying yet? You didn't eat very many of them. Oops. Ooh. So this Pop-Tart says, wow, those reindeer are really fast and it got run over. They smell really good. They smell like sugar cookies. Maybe? Yeah, they smell like sugar cookies. I'm glad that I had to smell it 3 times to be like, yes, they do indeed smell like sugar cookies. There's your inside kind of frosting stuff. So we have a little chunk of a sugar cookie Pop-Tart. We'll try the frosted portion. Yeah, they're okay, I guess. I don't know. They don't really. I don't know how much like a sugar cookie those really taste like. Tastes very frosting-y. I don't know. They don't. I think they missed the mark on what they're going for. Thank God I bought the big box. Actually, this was the only box I could find. So those are the Sugar Cookie Limited Edition Pop-Tarts. They're not great. I wouldn't recommend them. I don't think they really hit the mark of what they're going for. I don't know. They kind of taste bland. I don't know. I'm remarkably unimpressed with these. Mom, hopefully you'll make sugar cookies soon. Finally, on this week's show, we have this week's new releases. On Blu-ray, Star Trek Discovery Season 1, which finally hits shelves. It's been on CBS All Access for, I don't know, over a year at this point, probably. They have a lot of Star Trek stuff that they're doing. That actually sounds pretty cool. They have, like, short treks and things of that nature. I'm very excited about Star Trek Discovery. I'd love to watch it, even though I am a little nervous about Season 2 and the inclusion of Spock and Pike. But that's just me. In theaters, one of my most anticipated movies of the quarter, Widows, hits theaters. In addition to that, The Ballad of Buster Scruggs hits theaters. That's a new Coen Brothers movie. It was originally supposed to be an anthology series on Netflix, but then they moved it to in theaters. I don't really know. I love the Coen Brothers, so I'm very curious about this particular movie. I anticipate that will be a very, very limited release, so I doubt we'll see it here for a couple of weeks. It is a big, huge week for games this week. Hitman 2 is out, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee or Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. They always put out 2 Pokemon games at the same time. Fallout 76, Spyro the Reignited Trilogy, which is the game I am most excited for, and I'm going to go pick up in actually about an hour or so as of the time of the recording, so I need to really get this wrapped up here. And then last but not least, the deluxe edition of Battlefield 5 hits on, I believe it's on Thursday. The standard edition hits next week on Tuesday. So a big, huge, giant week for games. I wish I had enough time and money to put some time into all of those. That's a lot of use of the word time. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Week in Review. Hopefully you enjoyed it. While you're here, leave a comment down below and let me know what you're looking forward to. There's a ton of stuff out this week. You're bound to be interested in something. Let me know down there. While you're there, hit that subscribe button so you know when I post new videos. Check back every week for more Week in Review, and we'll see you next week.